today. Um, my name is MC Adapa, and I will be this for today. So thank you so much for your time. We're just gonna kickstart. We're trying to be on UK time and not African time. So we are kickstarting the today's um, this momentous occasion as we celebrate the launch of Torn by Pride and United by Hope. Um, we will start by just a little icebreaker, just to ease the room and just to get to know, I guess, each other. And it will be in the form of a book. So, if you were a book, how would you describe yourself, or what would be the title of that book? That's my daughter. That's just my daughter's my biggest cheerleader, so her hands go up first. Do you want to describe yourself by the book?
I have a diary.
You have a diary. Oh, that's good. Okay.
And I would describe myself as secretive.
Oh, are you? Yeah, she decided she's got a diary this morning, and I said, well, you still have to tell me everything. The second diary. Okay, so who would like to go next? And you can you mention your name, your actual name, but then because it'll be nice to refer back to you with your name, and then you tell us who you would be if you were a book. Which book best describes Mr. Olubami Odebi?
Yeah, but just always.
Always fine. Okay. Really nice to meet you.
Describe myself as interesting but intense.
Okay. Okay.
I'm intentional.
And intentional. Okay, that's interesting. Do you have a book that has that kind of storyline?
Well, more of a movie. I was adapted from a book.
Okay. What movie is that?
I watched the movie, and it's probably my best ever. It's called Shawshank Redemption.
Oh yes. I feel like I've seen that. Is it like what's the name? Denzel? No, that's the one. Okay. I'm a terrible movie. Like I don't do movies and stuff. Okay, that's interesting. Thank you for introducing yourself to us in that way. And I want to come to this side of the room. My lovely Mrs.
Oh,
Either Miss or Miss. That's why I did the slash because of course
okay.
I want to give either all the titles to you, Madam, Ma'am.
Okay, so Mrs. Olubamibo, but please call me Dudu.
Nice.
So if I were a book, I would be a discovery, like traveling different places, experiencing new things. And, yeah.
I like that. And is there a particular book that has that genre that you've read or encountered?
No, it's more the life I'm living. So I'm hopefully someone can write that book or I can write the book. So.
Oh, who knows? We get some tips from Fola. Fola, you ready? Consulting deals coming up. Okay, that's lovely to hear. And should we go onto the screen? We've got our lovely guests who have joined us internationally. We want to welcome you as well. You are a part of today, and we are very grateful that you're here. Hello. So I see the names, and sometimes they switch it. So the last name might be at the front, and the first name might be at the back, or vice versa. But I've got Titi Lola, which I think is the first name. Is Swala.
You're right. Yes. Titi is Swala.
Hello. Do you want to introduce yourself, please? And how would you describe yourself if you were a book, or what book title would you be?
Well, I'm the younger sister to Folashade Adewolu. I'm the last child of the family, and of course, I'm very spoiled. And if I were to be a book, maybe it's something like romantic novel.
That's amazing.
Thank you all for coming to celebrate my sister. I really, really appreciate. Thank you.
Of course. So where are you joining from?
I'm joining from Nigeria, Lagos to be precise.
Nice. Well, we are hotter than Nigeria right now. I can guarantee you. So you're missing out. But thank you so much for joining and greetings to
Thank
everyone.
you too.
So
Cheers. Yeah.
go to okay, I think I see a okay. So whilst we were doing the intros, we had Counselor Jennifer walk in. Everyone just give her a warm welcome. Thank you so much for gracing this occasion. My name is MC Adapa. I'm your hostess for today, hosting today's event. And we are describing ourselves in book genre because, of course, it's a book club. So, what better way to do that? So, if you had to describe who you are, you let us know your name and then describe yourself in a book or which book best describes you. Let's put it that way. Either way.
I didn't really think about it.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm putting everyone on the spot.
Yes, on the spot. But just to tell you that I'm a counsellor for Neon.
Oh, nice.
I've been a counsellor now for 7 years. I've been an activist even before, because you have to.
Of course.
I was previously assistant with, and there's election next year. We have to start working hard.
Oh, must be a lot.
So it's a lot of work. Like today, I know today is still in rush. You have it cook lunch, which is black. So after leaving at 2, of course, another place to go.
Of course.
And then I've got somewhere else as well.
I know, back to back, isn't it?
Back to back.
I understand you. So we're glad you're here.
I know it's really hot, but I just decided.
Thank you.
Support, especially.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And if we had to, I guess, sum you up with a genre, let's put it as a genre, not necessarily a book, but a book genre, what would you sum yourself up as, character-wise?
Character, I'm a people person.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I get along with a lot of people from different nationalities, different backgrounds, and they sort of take to warm to them as well, because you have to, especially being black from the Caribbean. I've been in this country over 50 years.
Wow.
I've got a grandson who's 24. Well, my daughter.
Oh, nice.
My daughter is 50.
Oh, wow. Okay, you don't look it. Just saying. Don't look
it. He gave me a lift here, which
wow. That's amazing.
Oh, that's amazing. We're very close family.
Oh. So your family.
Our family oriented, yes.
I like that. And hardworking. That's what I gathered from.
Well, we're all hardworking.
Yes.
Family anyway.
I like that.
My husband passed away 3 years ago. We were very close family, and he was very helpful. He used to do all the cooking. No, it's true.
No, I bet you missed that.
No, my grandson is taking to help. I mean,
of course, well, that's very sweet.
But the reason is my husband, because you go leave work, you go home, you have a lot of meetings, so that something is ready for me. I got to go. He was very supportive. So we celebrated his Father's Day at the cemetery on Sunday. That's nice. Sing hymns and do prayers and that.
That is beautiful.
Like that.
That is beautiful.
So our home is very quiet. Not nice. Quite nice family.
We like that, and I know that comes back into, I guess, in the concept of why Folashade wrote this book, to support each other, to learn to just, I guess, thrive in the best way we can all thrive. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And let me see, I'll move on to this lovely table because I heard someone who volunteered my daughter, and I want to know who this lovely woman is. Yes, I know, I'm sure. So, if you'd like to introduce yourself and if you can give us a genre that you'd describe yourself as, that'd be great.
I'm saying, originally from Ghana.
Oh, you're from Ghana.
Retired nurse. Where I call myself for good? I don't know. Probably life is a choice.
Right.
You choose to intervene or walk away. And those choices are what makes you.
Thank you. You can choose to intervene or walk away, and those choices make you you. It's powerful. Thank you for that. So we have one more person who has joined online. Remy and Rotimi, are you there? Olayinka, are you there? I see you have the same surname as Titila Lola.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a quick intro for us? We're watching you from London. Well, we can't see you, but you're watching us from wherever you are. So let us know where you're joining us from if you can. If not, we'll just come back to the room. Okay, I can see you've unmuted.
Okay, I'm from Lagos, Nigeria.
Oh,
From Lagos.
nice. Nice. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. And we'll go to the woman of the day. Please come forward. So I'll let you get away with it. Isn't she looking stunning? Like, glowing. So we have Folashade here, and Fola, I would like you to officially introduce yourself. And if you had to describe yourself in a book genre, or which book best describes you? I know you've written a book, hence why we're here. But overall, which book best describes you or inspires you? Or which genre would you describe yourself as?
I have to think about that.
I know, I didn't even think of it for myself. That's why I'm glad nobody's answering me.
So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Folashade Adewolu, and I'll say thank you. I might start it officially.
So, just do that and then I'll introduce that part.
So, the book. I love detective books. Sherlock Holmes. Yeah.
Have you seen the ones they've been doing on Netflix, the adaptations?
I tried to watch one after, but again, this SCI is forensic. I'm very curious. I want to know what happens next.
I started not sleeping. I started watching those. I'm like extra suspicious.
I just want to know why. What happened next? What's next? Who did what?
I'll send you something, and I think you'd love that. The lady even looks like you.
Oh,
You'd love
there
that.
you go.
No, okay, that's you. So your mystery. What's next?
What's next?
Oh, I'm intrigued to find out what's next at the end of this program. What is next, especially after we digest everything that you just written. And on that note, I'll just swiftly introduce our main woman for today. And Folashade, or do you want to do Fola?
Yeah, there's. I'm sure everyone can pronounce Fola.
Of
Fola
course.
is okay.
Are you sure? It's your day. We're going to pronounce whatever you tell us to pronounce. I'm telling you that.
Let's stick with Fola.
Okay. So today, Fola is going to give us an overview of why we are here. And once again, I want to say thank you so much for joining us. And she just give us a brief summary of the book, what inspired her to, or what led her to write it. And yeah, we're going to give you the floor. Can you all give her a big round of applause?
First and foremost, I would like to say a very big thank you to God for giving me the opportunity to stand here today, and the grace, the wisdom, and the willingness, to write this book. What really inspired me, because we know that people go through different kind of challenges, and some of these challenges, sometimes either they break us or they make us. However, despite the challenge, what brings us back together is hope. And it's that hope that inspired me to write this book. And again, also, it's about my personal experiences the social changes, and the need for a change. And this change wrapped around the minority group in particular, who sometimes, if not all the time, are the victim. And again, of course, this book we're talking about, Turned by Tide, United by Hope, it talks about so many things that we can all probably associate with. Why? Because it talks about trauma, it talks about mental health, neurodiversity, migration. Can let me see, is anyone, even though we have some of us might be born here, but again, we came from somewhere, and the challenges that we face. So again, it talks about things like that, but more importantly, it talks about family dynamics. And we all know that family is the bedrock of every society. So that's why today, it's not just for us to pick up a book and read it, but for us to see ourselves in its pages, challenge its ideology, and more importantly, take the message to our world. And also, again, I just want to say one thing again that I really want us to do, like I said, is not just about the book that we're launching today, but for us to be able to change something. And what that is, change the perception, the vision, and what we want to see next going forward. So I would like to say thank you also to my family, my immediate family, my husband and my daughter. Thank you. What's my Aussie?
You want to see him?
I know. My daughter say, "Mommy, sushi kiss." So that's my husband. And my daughter, Natalia. You can join if you want to. I want us to get a family picture. Yes, so just for today. So thank you so much. I do know why you're clapping, Yeah. I made them read the book over and over again. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, family. We appreciate you guys for all your support, your proof. Trust me, proofreading is no joke. My husband did my dissertation with me in university. Trust me, I understand the pressure that we put on the family members, but you're the best people to support us. And, it goes to show the tenacity and the strength that comes through. So thank you.
So also I'd like to say thank you to our team. Thank you to Albina. Thank you to Joseph. Thank you to other members that will be introducing afterwards, and more also importantly, the esteemed ladies and gentlemen sitting here. I would like to say thank you to you. Without you, we will not be here. So I really appreciate and love you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next part of our agenda, and we will be having the lovely Miss. Is this Miss? I'm so sorry, but I think Miss is an MS that covers everyone. When you're writing it, at least you can see it. So I would like to introduce Miss Sarah Solomon Ayi. And I've emailed you so many times. My name is Abina. My actual I know, as soon as you speak. So yes, we've done quite a few interactions. So this is the face to the trouble email sender. So Miss Solomon Ayi is the Health Involvement Rep for Inequalities, and she'll be talking about the issues of migration and impact on family. On the parents, children, and and looking at race inequality. So she will be giving us not too long, 10 to 15 minutes. Of course, we will have some discussions between us. You can share your experiences, and we can go from there. And yes, please. And once again, please come once again, my name is MC Adapa, or official MC Adapa for any event hosting, and just make it comfortable. You can always reach out. Surprise! Surprise!
Okay, I'm Sarah. And I had this invitation very, very short time. I came to this country at the age of 18 to train as a nurse. One word I had difficulty understanding back in Ghana is prejudice. 6 months into my training, I became very much aware of it. I was working in an 18-month-old came into a research station. Myself and a colleague, she was white, were supposedly looking at this child while she's waiting for a bed and go to theater. Never happened. So we were in this room, the doctors were in a few rooms down the line, we pressed the bell, eventually I ran into the room. They were chatting about the party we had last night and how many women they had. And I asked them, why did I have them? Oh, we switched off. The child died. And I went to sleep. I followed him and I shut down the store. Because all he said was, don't worry about them. They'll breed like rabbits. In a few months' time, she'll have another child. So in the screening session, because I have a lot of ones, round the casualty department, homicide it was one time going to be system a day. Go behind any doctor who does that. Anybody. And I fell apart. Long story short, matron took me out. 3 days I worked in another ward. First thing I met was, oh, you're the nurse that is struggling in the union. I thought, that's it, I'm going to. My father said, come over. It's chosen, you stay. But what I didn't realize actually, she was going to be my next one. First thing she said to me was, I need you go back to Ghana. So you can't get this. And I had to think about it. She said, write down to me, just one page. Why? You want to life depends on the race or his income. Follow on to that. My nurses, I just grilled them. You have to know it, otherwise you can't stay. It's always costly. A new one that joined us, in my time, many years ago, we have 2 streams, 2-year nurse training, 3 years nurse training. This girl, I did appraisal, she wasn't ready to be in charge of the unit. On my holiday, management put her in charge. The baby died. And as far as she's concerned, it was my fault. Management said I was changing president. Not doing it. And I did realize that keeping anybody safe, it's not just the patients, but the people working with the patients as well, which I think will And I'm going to finish on why people have got me here. Because I know how the health system works, and I know that in this country, maternity units are the worst for Black people. Years ago, they had what they call the birthing unit. And I was working in neighboring towns. The children we saw that were damaged in the birthing unit was so much that I left. So when my family members, cousins, whatnot, I'm returning, I'm there. But I failed my son 8 years ago. I was in Ghana. In my culture, if a woman is having a child, the mother is the most important person there. So I was assuming her mother would be there with her. Because when we left, she wasn't in labor. My son's wife is white. In the health service, sometimes when you have a couple that are mixed race into the unit, you look down upon. Protocols were not followed. The child had a very fast heartbeat, something should have been done, it wasn't done. Mother said, I can't push something like that, it wasn't done. Instead of allowing the mother to push for 1 hour, she was made to push for 3 hours. The baby came out, flashed the country. Blue, no breathing, paralyzed, went to special care unit in another hospital. Well, 3 weeks later, all I had was a phone call from my son saying, Mom, baby's been born, we don't know if he's gonna stay the night. So, as my sister left, we rushed back. Following that. What we found wasn't nice. We still live with that experience. And I'm standing because of her, my sister. She's been my rock. She's the youngest family. But believe you me, she can give you a few lashings when she's ready to use it. Why did the child has to be born that way? Because nobody bothered. Or because my son was black, his wife was white. That's why I said, that life is a choice. You will choose to either intervene or walk away. The maternity units that he was born in was established in the early 70s because of this rate of damage to children. But it's back on again. It's just made for the average white person to say, I'm having my baby at home, but there are no medical equipment to support you for that time. And if the midwife in charge does not follow protocol, we let that blood rise. So that is me.
My first question was, what was your favourite moment from this event?
My favourite moment was the fact that everybody felt open enough, vulnerable enough to share their own personal experience. That definitely from the black community is something that, we've all kind of shied away, or from societal perspective, we've kind of shied away from, and the fact that people felt comfortable enough in this environment to share their own personal feelings, and that was women and men. That was that is definitely something that I've taken away from today.
I found you to be really strong-minded and open and powerful. I don't know, I just get that energy from you. But I wanted to ask, what's one position you really advocate for? Whether we talked about trauma, bereavement.
Yes.
What was the one topic you really resonated with?
I think the element of trauma, that actually so many people go through trauma, and within the mental health society there is a big T and a little t, but how do we really have the capacity to be able to, why are we still labeling with that? Because that's such a subjective moment when we're talking about trauma, and I don't want anyone to belittle it and think to themselves, mine's a little t because they've heard somebody else know trauma, and having and feeling comfortable, or creating, which is what was said today, creating a support network where you feel that actually, I have somebody to talk to. Yeah.
Thank you. This is my last question, I'll let you go. I know you bought a copy of the book.
Yes. Yes, I actually, two.
You've met the author today.
Yes.
What is one word you'd use to describe her?
Inspirational. Absolutely. Why do I say that? I say that because, again, there's so many people. I think if I did a small little poll for people in here, I'd say at least 90% of the people said, oh yeah, do you know what? Actually, I've toyed with the idea of writing a book, but she's done it. Yeah, so that's where I say inspirational, and absolutely, I can't wait to read it.
Thank you. So the impact on, I guess, the family. Sometimes you think people come, and I think one thing I'm passionate about now is our African parents who have migrated recently. They'll take the kids to the park and they'll be like, oh yeah, I'll take them to the park. I'm like, what do you do during the breaks? Like the school breaks? They're like, oh, we go to the park. No, We don't do that. You're your child's first teacher. So how are you impacting the right knowledge into them right from home? Is this something that Follow yourself you want to share? Is that something you want to talk about in terms of even, I guess, being your child's first teacher as a mum, as a migrant? Um,
Yes, so for me, well, I was a different story. So, and I'll thank you to everyone that shared because I know the topics we are sharing today will be, it's quite sensitive. So it's for us to, take something home from here and apply to ourselves and to our work. So for me, like what Sarah said, I was overdue, and I was happy to go to the labor room. But getting there, things just changed. I almost died. We almost died, you know. And again, and that's why I was going to talk about trauma because again, it led to so many things. And these are the things for Black people in particular, when things happen to us that we take for granted. And more importantly, people around us, they may not even know we're going through this kind of challenges. And even if they know, they don't know how to support us. And if we can't support, you don't know what to say. Maybe it's better you keep quiet than not challenging the person. You think you know what they're going through. It's my experience. You can never take that away from me. You can empathize, which if you can, yeah, but again, you cannot say it didn't happen because it did happen. So for me, I left the labor room. I mean, what we call now postnatal depression, and then that's a while ago now. I don't even know what I was doing. I don't know the kind of help I could get, and it lingered for at least about 12 years. And I was trying to leave. And again, initially when it started, I don't even know what was wrong with me. And that's one thing I believe most of all probably would have experienced. I don't know what was wrong. I might be holding something, I'm looking for it. And that period, it was so bad. I was supposed to be writing an exam. I was, of course, it all came from somewhere. Like I said, it wasn't born here. I remember one day, I was in an exam hall. I was reading the line. I've read it about 10 times, just one line. And I just said, you know what? What's the point? I just left the exam hall. I was supposed to be making my way to Dagenham. I found myself at Old Street. How? I don't know how I got there. That's just the truth. And it dawned on me that something is wrong. I don't have anyone like most of us that have come all the way. You're probably living alone. You're nobody's there to support you. And again, of course, I'll just say to our community, sometimes some of us might belong to a church or maybe a mosque or something. But again, these are so important that we are very watchful, they're vigilant to know those your congregation, your members, or probably those you call your friend, if they're going through something. How are you supporting them? Or you just say, oh, it's well with you, How do we support them? How do you know that they're crying even though you can't see their tears? So for me, I wish I had that person to say, oh, Paula, how are you? Even my mom did not know. She was staying with me. But she knew something was wrong. But again, this is communication we don't have with our parents. They don't know how to communicate. And I think that's one major thing I believe the majority of us probably will resonate. I mean, to resonate with us. We don't know how to communicate. We just need to get on with it. You'll be fine. It's life. It's okay. You need to have that man up or you need to be strong, We don't talk about these things, and that's why for me it lingered that long. But one thing I told myself, and I think that one of the what I'm sharing in the book anyway, how God helped me. Because the only person I can run to is God. He's the only one that can listen to me, all my jargons, he saw all my tears. But I was determined, that determination that got me to where I am today. So I'm going to encourage us, to build that resilience as well. But it's not something that you can do by yourself. I need a helping hand. I need people.
You need the community. And my saying is, my husband's still in Ghana, so most of the times I'm with the two people who can touch on me. And full disclaimer, I cried this morning. No, and
one day I actually conducted an experiment. I asked one guy, I said, what do you want? He said, he want this. I went to the other guy, do you want this one? He said, yes. Immediately he found out what his brother wants. He switched. He said, he want that one. And you can imagine if two boys from the same dad and the same mother are having that kind of competition, you can imagine what we went through, you know, or a lot of people who come from that kind of setup. So for me, what I always say is that, whether someone is intentionally, marrying someone else, or it's just a situation where the marriage didn't work out and you have to go marry somebody else, it might happen. But I think what is more important is if anyone is from that kind of setup, that kind of or family setup, where your dad or your mom or your just from a polygamy family, I don't know if that English is right, I don't know what you call it, but if you're from that kind of family, yeah, check yourself. It's important. It's very important because you won't know that you've gotten used to the idea of competition. You won't know if you've gotten used to the idea of being left out. You don't know if you've gotten used to the idea of there's so many things you have to fight for. You have to pick up. Like a normal person won't do it, but you will do it because it's what you did all your life, trying to get ahead. You see, I couldn't do certain things. I read a part of the book where, in the book where it talked about the father will have to send one person to school to educate one person. So if the wife has like 4 children, it's only the first one that will go. Now, yeah, fine. I was born here, quite right. But I remember that I was talking to my half brother, and he said to me that Dad said even if anyone's going to travel out, regardless if I was born here or not, it will have to be you. I said, what about you? He said, he's sending me to Pakistan. By the way, my dad is a Muslim. He said, he's sending me to Pakistan, that I'm the one who needs it. And I feel like that's not fair on him. That's not fair on him because, he didn't ask him to give back, So I feel like it should be, if you want to send your children to study abroad, do it in a fair way. Don't say you send that one as a representative and you come second class. So it all boils down to, like I said, it might happen accidentally. You might not know. It might just be that you have to marry somebody else. But what is important is what happens to those kids, whether you were a child of the first wife, second wife, third wife, fourth wife. They are all human beings. We're all human beings. And yeah, we need to get that checked. Thank you.
You today, Uncle. It was a pleasure to have you.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. Really, it was a nice. I found it inspiring really, to be a part of it. Yeah, so
you opened up, and it moved the whole room. The topic you talked about touched our hearts. Would you like to?
Yeah, he actually inspired me to open up as well because he started that line of thoughts and everything he said was kind of resonating with me, and I just felt this is a time I had to say something as well. It's not something I've shared with a lot of people, just a few family friends, and especially my wife because she's been with me all the way. One thing I can say is that the support system is very, very important. And I can say that because I know the difference between when I didn't have my wife's support and when I had it. Though she was very young at that time, and I met her and she was very young, but I can tell you that the kind of support she gave me, it really, really helped all through and still helping up till now. So support is very, very important when people have been through the kind of trauma, especially the ones that they can't really, they don't find comfortable talking to people about it.
Oh, thank you. Again, that was touching as well. Our final question. What is one thing you took away from this event?
Inspiration. To me personally, because like I said when I was talking, I have manuscripts scattered all over my computer. I have pieces of paper because I would write things down and all that. I've not really had that courage to put everything together, you know. And I think with this, I'll probably do something. I hope I get around to it. But I think I will do it. Yeah. So it actually is the inspiration, because I didn't know she was writing something. I know she's going through. I mean, she's doing a lot of things. She still works as, 9 to 5 job. She has a company and all that, and she still had the time to write the book. That's inspiring. I hope I take that inspiration, honestly.
We hope so too. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nat. Just a minute, please. I'll join you and then we'll go and say Miss Titilaya. Absolute Titilola, my apologies. Thank you. So just when you mentioned your voice, I laughed and I went there. So you see this thing. I met yesterday, and I think I'll share this, but yesterday I met my long lost sister of, I've not seen her in 17 years. Yeah, she's my sister, and this was the second time I've met her. When I first met her, I think I was 17, I don't even know. It was very random, and we're confused. We've been trying to figure out where the dynamics are with the siblingship. And so she's 2 siblings older than me, and so there's 4 ahead of me. All of them have a different mother. And it's me and then my 2 brothers who are the same mother. And then now there's an extra one that I've never met. He's like 15. And she came and she brought this to my daughters. Same thing, 2. I laughed and I went to pick it because I wanted to show you. Same thing. The girls looked at it and then the younger one goes, I want this one. And I'm like, but what's the difference? She's like, I want the other one. We're looking at it, same arrangement of the colors, everything. So there's this thing that happens and it's so normal. And you're looking at it like, what's happening? And you talked about if you've been through that, seek help. And we were talking about one of our other sisters who we know of, and her, I kept in touch with her for a long time. This one, she lost our contact. So when we first met, she lost our contact. That's why we never saw her again. And so we were talking about how she needs a lot more support, because sometimes she sees me as that missing father because they never actually had him around. And this sister was telling me she always wanted to have the siblingship that I had with my brothers, like one mother, one father, because she was the only one from the both parents. So she's always wanted that. And when she had my experience, she was like, oh, I actually always thought you had it good, like, you were having it. I was still struggling, and even more so because I was present with the person, with the man, with the dad. He still would tell him here as a sperm donor. Some of us have let go, but it doesn't mean we're going to encourage it into our lives. And I do understand where your sister's from. She just needs to seek the help. She doesn't have to force herself to be in a space where she's not going to thrive if she doesn't want to. But you are very right. There's different dynamics. There's a lot of psychological effects. It's just about how you let the pain build you. And I think that's just what it is. And I'll come to our lovely...
He was first.
It was, okay. So Jonah, come here. We did a bad test. She's like...
My name is Olumide Odebi. I'm actually a bit heavy because while he was talking, so many things, I resonated with so many things he said. And I look at myself like, if you're looking for a poster boy for someone who's suffered from polygamy, I should be on the poster. I should be on the buses. I should be on because I would say personally, polygamy cost me everything apart from my life. And it's not a story that I usually share because I've only shared with people because I was very young. Funny enough, she comes from the polygamous families. When I just supposed to two families, I'm like, why was her so okay and mine was so terrible. And then when I look at the dynamics, I saw that they are different. I think how probably was calculated and mine was kind of accidental because it was something we didn't expect. Everything seemed to be going fine, and then one day, last day of the year, 31st of December 1987, while everybody else was trying to get into the new year and all that, and then realized that we have a stepmom, and my dad was moving out of the house we're living in. And he said, well, my mom wasn't going in. And we thought, why? And he said, well, if you guys want to go with me, then. And we said, no. So we stayed with our mom. And all through the night, we were looking for a place to stay. Throughout the night, because, I mean, it's a very long story, which I'll try to. And then the very next day, my mom fell ill and she never recovered. And then she fell ill, and then degradation. At the end of the day, she was bedridden for 4 years and she passed on. And then we're in the same town. And I didn't see my dad for about 4 years. In the same town, not so far from the place. So it's to cut the long story short, it's traumatic. It's very, and that's why I was talking to Sister Fola. I don't know how to say this, but I'm really happy for her. I've had pieces of manuscripts here and there for 15 years. I wanted to write a book. I when she told me that, she was like, wow, that's interesting because it's something I've been trying to do for pieces of manuscript, some paragraphs here, paragraphs there for 15 years. And it's not come to fruition. And so the issue of polygamy is something we should actually take seriously. Very, very seriously. Like you said, it can't be stopped. Especially because we're Africans. I don't know. It's the cultural norm, kind of. It's where we've been brought up. Yes, it is. And if you look at the history, the men had many wives because they had to farm, and the children had to, they had to have many children so that they can farm, and at the end of the day, the more the merrier for them. They have different farms. Maybe one of the wives will be managing the cocoa farm, the other one will be managing the palm kernel farms and all that. So that's the reason. At the end of the day, I believe in evolution. So the social evolution made it so much ingrained in our culture. That's why you have some traditional rulers. They tell you can't just have one wife. Yeah, you have more. I don't think I've seen any traditional ruler who has one wife in Nigeria, where I come from. So and also the religious aspect of it. Islam, sort of, you're allowed to marry up to 4 wives. Well, with actually a caveat, if you can be fair to all the wives.
That's correct.
Well, that caveat is always thrown out. It's only that first part. It's only that first part that you're allowed to marry up to 4 wives. The other caveat, the caveat that you must be able to be fair, is thrown out. It's out of the window. In fact, many of them go beyond the 4. I have a friend, he's now a pastor in Northampton. When we were growing up, we used to call his house a local government because the man had 13 wives and all of them were in the same building.
And the wives added to it, like you come and then one.
Because it was very rich.
It's a mindset
It's built up, it's compounded like 7 buildings and all that, and wives are having their flats and everything like that. You know, but he used to call his house Armageddon.
Yes.
You know, and that's it. And that's one of the reasons why he became a Christian.
I'm just grateful that you didn't open that for us. I'm gonna come to you shortly, but I want to get my to invite, of course, the our international guests to make them feel welcome, to actually let them feel like they're part of the room. And we've got Miss City Lola. Hi. Hi, Auntie. Could I say that?
Hello.
Hello, we can hear
Fine,
you.
thank you. Thank you.
We've got a few minutes for you. Thank you.
I'm sorry, that few minutes will not work with me. I'm a typical Nigerian. So I would like to start with thanking everybody again. I've done that earlier on. My name is Titilola Iswola, and I'm the younger sister of Folashade Adewolu. I'm the last born of the family of 8. And again, I would like to thank some of my mommy's siblings on this call, Dr. Abdurakim Abiola, our sister, Mrs. Yemi Olugbele, and our nephew, Dr. Sholari Olatunji. And I think I have my niece here, my husband, and everybody. Thank you so much for joining the call. I really appreciate. In fact, I am so grateful. Yes, when I read the first few chapters of the book, Torn by Tides and United by Hope, I was left with this feeling of nostalgia, and I was just thinking about my childhood, our parents. I'm not in a position to really talk about our life when she was young, but from what I've heard from her siblings and herself, and what I can say is that there is no home, whether polygamy or monogamy, that does not have its own challenges. I would say that the word my sister Fola had been using earlier on, it's so important. You need to be resilient, you need to be focused. Every home, every person will have their unique challenges or challenge depending on what they're facing. And we need to learn how to balance it out. We need to learn how to move on, living our past. Because there will always be challenges, there will always be things to conquer, but the way you face it in life is very important. And you know, for us in Africa, in Nigeria, we have a better support. For instance, my sister Fola, I have older brothers and 2 sisters, senior sisters, but perhaps because our age is close, I'm saying close, not that it's just that close. She's 3.5 years older than I am, but I can go to her, you know, I can tell her things, I can share my thoughts with her, even some things that I may necessarily not tell my parents, even though I'm close to my dad, especially. If you look at the novel, it sums up our parents' life and us, the siblings' life. And of course, you know, Sister Fola, there always be rivalry. You know, I was thinking of putting this together in my own words before, until you told me that you've written something, you know, detailing the life of our parents and our life. I'm like, oh my God. So there always be rivalry. And that's the truth. I always admire her. I always want to be more like her. I always want to surpass her. And if you are hearing this for the first time, Sister Fola, well, no verse, like the Nigerians will say. I always want to do, I always want to challenge myself. And you know, the funny thing is that after an MSc in petroleum geology and an MBA certificate, last year I went to do GCE. For those that are Nigerians, that you know that, you know, that's funny. After finishing secondary school like 30 something years ago, I said, oh, I want to do law. And because I did sciences and, you know, the educational system in Nigeria is so rigid, So I never did literature to my final class because I was in science class, you know. So I went back to do GC last year. I scaled the literature and the government. I did jump and I passed, you know. So I'm always trying to better myself. I'm always trying to look up to her because she's somebody that is focused. She's determined. It has not been easy migrating. You know, migration it was never easy during our parents' time, and I'm sure for most of you there that are Africans, I can say that it might not be that easy too. The challenges they faced in the 60s and the 50s might be different from the challenges they're facing now. But the racism is still there, I'm sure. It might be better than what my parents faced over then. Maybe they have to limit themselves to factory worker. Even my daddy was fantastically brilliant. My mom was doing well in Nigeria. But you know, this idea that I needed to travel out, I needed to better myself and all that. So they had to go through a lot of things and it was not easy. So I say all this to drive home my point that wherever we are, in whatever situation we find ourselves, don't dwell in the past so much because it can be depressing. Especially in UK, you might not have that support system like I'm enjoying here. My aunt, my mommy's sister, Mrs. Olugbele, is always there. I can just call her. In fact, we've just for like an hour today, and we're always just like that as if we're age mates. You know, you can actually get people to relate with, to talk with, and all that. So over there, I'm sure it's a different ball game. Everybody's busy, and but I say this: wherever you are, whatever the challenge may be, try and move on. It might not be easy. Try and get somebody, at least one person that can be your support system. It's very, very key. Nobody is an island. There always be sibling rivalry. There always be rivalry in the office. You know, it's always there. Like I just told my sister now, I'm so annoyed that why should she be the one to now beat me to writing this book when I've been thinking about it in my head for years that I'm going to put something down, you know, I'm going to write about my parents, I'm going to stop at my own life. So I'm leaving you with this beautiful novel, beautiful, and very educative, very interesting. Torn by tides and united by hope. Be inspired. Thank you very much.
On that note, I wanted to let you all know as well, we've got so many copies of these books, and we would love for everyone to grab a copy to support Paula in this journey to share the hope across. And thank you so much, Miss Sisi Lola. The book is gonna come, and I'll be there to launch it for you. So get ready, Mr. Olu. Is it Olu or Olu? Olu, you too. Yeah, just keep that manuscript. Sometimes we get the message and it needs to go out. It can be a blessing to someone. So don't lose that hope. And so United by Hope, we have copies here. You can always scan and pay. And right here, you don't have to go far. We've got the right equipment to take the payments. So that's that. I know I said I'll come to you. So you have the floor. Just introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Timmy Siloko. I am a shy person. But
No, that's me. You're lovely.
So I have two children, and I am an IT consultant. She's I call her my mom. She's my big sister, my mom, my everything. So I just wanted to add to what that brother was saying about polygamy. I am a product of polygamy, but I am not into polygamy as we speak. Now, and also mine happened by accident, like that brother shared. So I remember growing up, my mom was the first wife, and I saw the last time I saw my mom was when I was 3 years old, and then the next time I saw her was 18 years after. I was 22 at that time. So when she saw me, this was my first trauma. She didn't know me, but I knew her. I walked past her, I sat in front of her, but she didn't know me. But I knew her. I was so upset. And the reason I knew her was because I have been through a lot for 18 years. Now, I will not be going into details. I'm tearing now. I will not be going into much details, but I'm not trying to be boastful, but I was very, very intelligent. So I always take first. I always, if you know the Nigerian system, we do first runner up. So I'm always like that. So I was always number one in everything I do, in class, everything. But I had thank you. I had this stepmom, just one, who would always look at me and say, "Oh, you're so intelligent. But I know that if you do exams tomorrow in school, you will fail."
Oh.
But I will do exam and then I will not fail. I think it turned around in a positive way to me because I built up resistance. So I went to uni, I went to university, even though I didn't eventually become a doctor, I am now something which I'm so happy about. And everything that resonates, every time it resonates in my head. If I wake up in the morning, I say to myself, no, this is where you're going. Tell me, this is where you're going. You are not going to become that way. And of course, maybe because I was a Christian. So I was also using the word of God, saying positive things to myself. That even though somebody who is supposed to be my mom, which is a stepmother, is saying to me, because you're intelligent, you're not going to be this. You're going to be roaming the streets of Lagos, being a useless person. So every day I wake up, I say to myself, no, this isn't me. I am going to be this. I am going to be this. I am going to be that. I am going to be that. And that worked really well. It wasn't easy, but I think the resistance that I have, and then trying to fight back that trauma, saying, no, I will not fail, but I will succeed in life. I think that helped me. So keying into what Ms. Titila is trying to say, I think, yes, it's not always easy when we go through trauma and when we go through mental situations. You know, like she said, I think we just have to find a way, speak to people, find a way to come out of it. But it cannot work that way for everybody. Some people are weak. They've got weak vessels, weaker vessels. So not everyone will go through mental health and it will be so easy for them to so easily. I went through it for 18 good years and here I am. That's because I had people who I speak to, and then because I had this stronger emotions inside of me that, you know, I'm going to be where I am and I'm going to do what I want to do. So I'll tell you the story of my sister, the one who is like, you know, before me. So she was a bit weak, not too intelligent. I'm not trying to talk down on her, but not too intelligent. But I tell you what, till today, she's still facing mental health. Now, and I'll give you an example. So she got married some time ago, and then she said, oh, she wanted to walk out of the marriage, it's not working. And I said, oh, why? She said, but you remember, my stepmom used to say, I will never get married. I will never get married. Maybe that's what's affecting me now. She still said it yesterday as well. And she's 45, you know. So in a way, that has really affected her because growing up, every time she says to me, oh, maybe I will never get married, you know, maybe what stepmom said, because we used to call her auntie at that time, maybe what auntie said is actually coming to play in my real life now. And maybe that's why I'm not married. And she's not married even now as I speak. She got married twice. But every time she would say, oh, maybe that thing that woman said is the truth. And it's actually happening. So somebody like that, even though she's my sister, sometimes I try to speak to her. Sometimes I try to talk to her to say, you know what, you need to come out of that situation and you need to start thinking ahead and you need to start thinking how you're going to make things work out and how you're going to get married or, you know, make things just work out for yourself. She'll say no. She thinks that what auntie said is actually true. You know, so going back to what Mrs. Titila just said, you know, I know that it's also good when we are going through such situations to try and build up that resistance, you know, to, you know, just shake it out, but it's not always easy. For example, look at my sister. she's affected till tomorrow, till today as I speak. Even though she's here, she's been to so many, she's listened to so many coaches, so many people talk about it, but she's still finding it hard. She's still finding it difficult to come out of such situation and of that belief, because somebody has said to her, which is my stepmom, had said to her when we were growing up that she would never get married. And that was because she wasn't our mom.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the only thing that she could sow inside of us was, you know, pain, sorrow, things that would make us look down on ourselves and just think that, oh, okay, we can never do this or we'll never be like this.
Did she have her
Now,
own children?
Yeah, she's got children. She's got.
How did she treat them?
Yeah, she treated them well, but she just thinks that okay, but she's somebody that wants to get married. Obviously, she wants to get married.
I'm
She still
talking
wants
your
to get married.
stepmom. Did she have her?
Yeah, she had two younger ones, which were really younger than myself. I think one of them is like maybe 15 now, as we speak. They're still too young. She has two. She treated them really well. There was competition. There was comparison. And unfortunately, her children were not as bright as we.
It's jealousy.
Exactly. So they were not as intelligent as we.
That is
so
why
obviously that's where the competition came in. So in terms of polygamy, like the country that we come from, polygamy is so polygamy is very rampant, like that brother said, and I don't know if it's ever going to stop because, like he said, there are some chiefs or like those titles, those people with big titles, like some royal families, they have to get married to one or more wives, and the Muslims as well also need to get married to one or more wives. So I don't really know how that's going to stop, but I'm thinking in my head, I'm not sure if I'm right or wrong, is for every woman who goes into polygamy, is there a way that we can support our children, especially because I didn't get that support because, like I said, I didn't see my own mom for 18 months. I don't know what happened. 18 years. I don't know what happened, but is there a way that every woman who is into polygamy can try as much as they can to support?
That's beautiful. First of all, let me just say thank you. Thank you so much to Folashade for this book. It's awesome. It's beautiful. I've gone through some snippet of it, but I'm going to go through the rest. Yeah.
God bless you. All right.
This session itself was awesome. So it's beautiful. I think every part of it was wonderful, especially getting to hear people's personal experience, how they dealt with it, how they went through it. Because every one of us, we sometimes find ourselves in this business. In fact, everything that was said today, every point resonated with personally in my life and different places. Well, yeah, it was beautiful. It's good that we could talk. That made a lot of difference.
Yes.
So yeah, basically, the talking made a lot of difference. That was one for me, really. The talking and sharing one or two things.
You said that a lot of moments touched you. Is there a topic in particular that really resonated?
Like I said, there were bits of beach from all of them that really touched me, really. If I want to go for any particular one, really, I think I want to go for any particular one, really. I think it's another one. Maybe two of them, maybe two of them, really. When the lady talked about, one of the ladies that talked about how the stepmom spoke things to her, and then, and thank God she was able to go through them, she was able to come out of it. Yeah, those things resonated with me particularly because like I said, I know people have similar stories, but not all of them have been able to come out of it. So that was really very powerful, that was good. And then we talked around polygamy as well too. Yeah, there's a lot to learn from that.
Thank you.
It was beautiful. It was a beautiful time, really. I wish everyone could come, really. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, one last question.
Okay.
If you were to describe the author in one word, what would that word be?
Fantastic. And she has a heart of gold. She cares without condition, without getting anything from it. She just goes all about it. She's awesome. She surprised me with this though. I didn't know she was an author too. Yes, fantastic. Yeah, that's good. Thanks.
Thank you for
very
your
much.
time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
Hi, thank you so much for coming to this event. I just want to ask if there's one thing you say you've taken away from this, what would that be?
Well, I think, first of all, thank you for, I would like to say thank you to Fola for inviting me to this event. I've taken quite a lot of things, people's stories that they've shared and their experiences. And I think that the bit about the effects of a polygamous home really touched me, because I know of people who come from such homes or are products of such homes, but people's personal stories today really touched me, and I feel like there's plenty of work to be done to support people who are products of such homes, and then also quite a lot of work to be done for upcoming fathers to be very mindful about how they set up their homes and families.
Thank you, that was touching. Off of that, do you think there's any solutions to these problems you've heard?
Well, there are some solutions, but they're dependent on one's cultural background, one's religious background, etc. When it comes to things like neurodivergence, I work in mental health as well, and one of the main issues is you find out that most people, depending on their religious background, do not believe that, my child has got this or this person has got that diagnosis. So they're always in denial of such diagnosis, and then that affects the sort of treatment pathways that the child or relative gets. Because, for instance, let's see something like ADHD. You may have a parent who will be in denial because of their religious background. Oh, because I'm a Christian, this cannot happen to my child. And so such a simple thing as medication to treat ADHD, they'll say no. You'd be surprised, even other supporting therapies as well, they wouldn't agree to it. So yeah, it's one of the things that need to be considered by most parents as well, and we need change from that aspect for us to be able to see a difference in the way that people cope with such conditions.
That was a powerful message, especially coming from your experience in mental health. The author also works in mental health. Is there one thing you'd say about her and the book?
Well, this is a very simple question. I know her personally because I used to work with her, and I had good things about her before I worked with her. So I'll say that I'm very proud of her, what she's achieved. I know how she's dedicated to people. Even outside work, I've had situations where she's been there for me. Even when I'm in this country, when I'm outside of this country. So she is a mother to all, and she is, I call her the big boss. She's a boss to
still in our children, I'll say we stick together. Remove these labels. When I meet a Congolese, I don't see her as a Congolese. It does not matter whether that Congolese doesn't like me or not, but when it comes to the front line, I'm on front line for Africa. Everybody knows it. And I even tell them, I said, you know what, I've no shame. My people come first. End of story. Take it or leave it. And I've been criticized for it. I said, I don't mind, okay? So that is one thing. So all these things that we're saying, how can one woman be mistreating children and there's a whole family just looking? Eh? We come and beat that woman, as simple as that. You cannot mistreat our children, okay? But it's lack of solidarity. We lack solidarity. I just don't know how much. I would wish I could have more years to do that. I could open a school of solidarity, patriotism, to teach my own people. Because I came from a background where my father for 5 years taught me patriotism towards my country, taught me Pan-Africanism, taught me unity, okay, and taught me the concept of family. So by the time I was 18, I was bold, okay, to stick up for Africa. I could go and find somebody whom I feel is being oppressed and stick up for that person. And I still do it every day in my life. Yeah. So Myself, I've got lived experience as a full-time carer, my own son who suffers from severe mental health problems, severe physical health problems, that we discovered it when he was in his teen, but because we were very highly functional, nobody ever believed in us until when he was 25, that started people. So I've got a lived experience as a parent, as a carer, an old child, and it is a very
about your own thoughts.
like already.
Go on.
Okay, all right, yeah. It's a very difficult experience, but it's also a very exciting experience. And of course, I've got a professional experience of moms who have got children who have got ongoing mental health problems, who have got diversity problems. And I relate to them, I resonate with them all the time in my practice every day. And it makes me feel strong when I work with them. It is a very rewarding career. There's nothing good like looking after your very own, okay? And being successful in looking of your own. So most of people, when you talk about neurodiversity, you talk about mental illness, you talk about alcohol and drug, people come up with you and say, oh my God, it must be too much. Actually, it's not too much as people say, it's a journey. And that journey has challenges like any other journey. I always say people, when they're talking about neurodiversity, when they're talking about mental illness, they see the real mad. They see the real people who are the people who don't speak. They don't see the goodness of these people. And actually, that is the challenge we have in our community. Talk about mental illness in our community. People don't understand it. And rightly, they call it witchcraft. Talk about neurodiversity. Rightly, they call it witchcraft. So it's extremely very difficult to convince our communities where we come from in Africa to say neurodiversity, mental illness is an illness, like another illness. It is easy to talk about things like cancer. It's easy to talk about things like asthma in our community. It's very easy to talk about things like HIV, okay, which has been around for 44 years. It's very easy to talk about it, and people will actually be sympathetic and people will come forward. But the moment you talk about mental health, or you talk about neurodiversity in our communities, the first thing they'll say, deliverance. Yeah, because this is not something, these labels you are talking about are European. So actually, you get hostility straight out from our community because everybody tells you to go and be delivered, which means there's a curse. And that's the challenge I find in our community, that parents, carers, families, which have got people with mental health problems. When we talk about diversity, I know I'm talking to a big community and I'm trying to break it down. You've seen children who don't speak. You've seen those children who don't speak. You've seen children who seem not to be understanding what is around them. So in our community, it is something wrong like witchcraft, something wrong like a curse. So you get that of say, you need to go for deliverance. You need to come for night prayers. You need to make tighties, so you don't get the kind of support our counterparts in the European community gets. Because for them, they are very much aware that mental illness and neurodiversity are conditions that happen to anybody. And that has been quite a very big challenge for me and probably for many parents I know from African community who have got children with mental health problems and neurodiversity that they face. We really have nowhere to go. Because everywhere you go, they tell you to go and do deliverance. And you say, what is the deliverance for? Oh, come on. What don't you know? Don't you see this one? Don't pretend to be white. So eventually, you close inside and you don't talk about it. Because there's no point of talking to people who are going to actually show that you are bewitched, show that you are unfortunate, show that you are cursed. So you end up closing in and not getting support from them. And that is one of the real challenges we Africans do. And now the moment you come and say, oh, come on, and my son is not well, say, what's the matter? Oh, he's experiencing mental health problems. Oh, have you tried this pasta? Let me do my pasta. Now, okay? So everything has become demonic in our community, and it is really putting our children in bad shape. When I came in this country, I started practicing about 32 years. I used to envy nursing at African. There was no African children. There were no African patients. I used to look at the Caribbeans, and I could look at the whites. The world would be full of other people. I never had anybody. But now I go on the shift, and 90% are African. 90% are African. So what have we done? It's because we've moved away from the truth that, as you've all said, mental health exists in our community. Neurodivergence exists in our community. There are conditions like any other condition. You don't need to go for deliverance. So I just want to give you a bit of my journey. So when I first encountered that, and everybody was taking me for night prayers, everybody was taking me for deliverance, and everybody was taking me for what, I decided to distance myself from my community, which was very sad. Okay, because that is the time I needed my community. And of course, my family members turned around and said, Elizabeth pathologizes all of us. She labels us to have mental illness. He says, you need therapy, you need help. What about her? She's the maddest person in our family, okay? Now, she has also influenced her lovely son to be mad, which is not mad. Please come. Don't force the doctrine of your mother. Take my son, whom I've looked after very well. All my colleagues in Africa surrounded me because his first episode was in Africa. They all surrounded me. The whole psychiatric profession and psychiatric nurses surrounded me. And within no time, my son was stable. Guess what? His friends, and I think other relatives, took him off medication and took him to deliverance. There's this prayer, 77 days of healing. You've heard about it? They took him 77 days of healing. And before he went, they told him, throw away all the medication. And he threw away all the medication because who doesn't want to be cured? You want to be cured. Who wants to be taking medication every day in their life? Nobody. So they took him for 77 days of his life. He left home. Nobody knew where he is. They told him, leave your phone, leave your wallet, leave everything. And he left home. And I was at work, they phoned me because my son never sleeps outside. He never sleeps. You know that. He grew up half here, so he's half British, half African. So he doesn't have certain characters. So I said, my son never sleeps outside. He never, even if it is midnight, he will ring me and say, Mom, get me a taxi. I'm somewhere, get me a taxi and I go home. Because he doesn't sleep anywhere. So where has he slept? So we become concerned. I say, where has he slept? You can't find where he sleep. I have my colleagues who are in the police, they do police patrol, they can't find him. The first day goes, he is at the pastor's place, one of the evangelical churches. In that, the whole world has come for the 77th day of healing, okay? He's among them. And of course, he's among them. He's never been in that situation. He didn't take money. He doesn't have money to buy food. He doesn't have money to buy water. He's not taking his medication fine. He couldn't have relapsed immediately. But they have already stopped him from taking medication like 2 weeks. So he can go when he's purified, isn't it? And of course, it's a big congregation. About 2,000 people are there for the 77 prayers. They are praying day and night, prayer day and night. And he's now fully relapsed. But because he's very functional, nobody's realizing it. That he's what? He's relapsed. And I think the paranoia says he infuses their water, but naturally he's that person that will not give food and he just eats it, or he gives water and he just eats it. So third day we are looking, the police, the patrols, everywhere. We've put on national television. We know now he's dead. Because this is somebody who cannot even stay outside up to midnight. And we know he's dead because there's no way 3 days he'll be alive. And I'm here with my colleagues in that. But I was in a team which was very diverse. I'm sorry to say this, white people know how to comfort you and make you strong when it comes to mental health problems than our own people. So I didn't have a group of telling me to go to night prayers or ask for pastor to help me. Everybody said, yeah, they were saying, Elizabeth, fourth day you're on the plane, okay? You don't even ask for leave, you don't know what, if you don't have money for tickets, here is money, okay? Because I was saying, if I fly and go home now, I'll be very emotional, but I want to be part of the search team, because I was coordinating the search from here. And I said, once I land there, I'm going to be emotional, I'll break down, but I want to continue being the search team. So on the third day, when he felt he could not, he decided to walk to the hospital, to the mental hospital, because he knew where the mental hospital is. But that was about 25 miles from where he was. And he walked 25 miles to the gate of that mental hospital, because he still had that insight that I'm becoming unaware that I need help. But because he had nobody to speak to, he walked 25 miles. And by the time he reached the hospital, the whole feet were sore, nothing but sore, dehydrated, and the dying spot. Guess what? This profession in nursing we do. I want to give you a testimony and promise. Treat your colleagues well. Because you don't know. When I realized my son was ill, I wanted a carer who has got experience of caring, clinical experience. So I hired an enrolled nurse to look after him. And that enrolled nurse one time said, Mom, can you also help me? And I become a registered nurse like you. I said, fair enough. And I thought it was for him, I even paid for it. So when my son arrived at the gate, they saw him. He couldn't believe what has happened. Who has beaten him up? He couldn't tell them what has happened to him. He couldn't say anything. So they took him to the ward straight away, and they could not see what is, as somebody assaulted him because the kid is bleeding. Okay, has he been in prison? And he can't speak. He was not able to speak. But one nurse who knows me, who is now a chief, you know when you're giving reports, we got this admission, we got admission, he picks my son's name. And then he doesn't have my phone number, although he had it, but he had lost it. He phones that boy I sponsored and he said, so and so son is here, but it's a matter of time, he's gone. He's in a bad shape. And I was now flying, because it was on the fourth day morning, I was now flying. I packed my things, I got everything, I was going to Heathrow. And then he phones me. I can see his phone, I said, because they had put advert on the television. So I said, please talk to me about the advert. He's called Richard. I said, Richard, I'm coming. He said, Mom, I've got him. I said, where is he? He's here, but he's in a bad shape. And of course, I contacted my colleagues, his dad. Within an hour's time, there was a team of different doctors. He was severely dehydrated. Sepsis had stepped in, okay? So they were gambling to fight sepsis. And of course now he's fully relapsed. He's not cooperating, okay? And he's so lost weight in those 3 days, he had lost so much weight. And fortunately, we were able to treat him, get him back to his footing, and only to know that people who had told him to stop medication and go sleep for 7 prayers were very people that we trusted. So this is the challenge we face in our community. Okay? We face a big, big challenge. But he got back to his senses, he took his medication, and 2 years after that one, I said, can we go back to England? He says, no, Mom, I don't want to go to Washington because she's university. And I said, you know what? If you don't come, and you continue living in this community, you have a choice. They'll continue to make you get better through natural ways. So eventually the brother said, you know what, let's try to sell another good point, okay? Because this is not going to work. So he had sleep apnea. Unfortunately, he got serious sleep apnea. Okay? And the only way he could get treatment for his sleep apnea was to come to Africa. Because they cannot treat it, they don't have the way they can treat it, they don't have it. So he came here for 1 month. I'm going in and Mom stopped my sleep apnea to get that machine you are talking about, and I come back here. I can never stay in that bloody country. He said, fine. As God has it, God will come. Boom. Okay? So where are you going?
And send them over to you. If you want it to go to someone, a friend, a family member, let us know. Feel free to buy more than one. So thank you for that. And so up next we'll be talking about trauma. So like Mr. Olu mentioned earlier, It's about the support that we get. What network have we built around us? What support do we have around us to help us through things? And life be lifing. Like that's the truth. Life is lifing. Let no one deceive you. Life comes with its challenges. You might have the finances sorted, but then the relationship will be struggling. And it's not because it's you have one and so the other has to fill, but there's always so much competing demands on us human beings that it won't always be you can't always be juggling the balls perfectly. There'll always be that stumble. And we need to learn to understand and actually appreciate the toughness as things that are building us. So you talked about resilience, like just being resilient in things that come up. I talk about using my pain to be the best version of myself. I see myself as a light, and I always want that light to shine, irrespective of the darkness that I find myself in. Because once I enter that darkness, what happens? Light. So I can be surrounded by darkness, but I need to always remember to let that light within me keep shining through. So we need to learn to remember that, and whatever trauma we've gone through, it could be through polygamy, through being children of that, through death, through anything of that nature. Let's learn to find our communities to support us. Let's find that light that's within us, and there's always that light in us. Let's let that push us through to come out of that situation and to be the best version of ourselves. And I know Fala will talk about the support that we offer someone who's going through a traumatic event, um, such as depression. You mentioned postnatal depression. That's a very big thing, and we don't talk about that enough. And how people just don't understand the dynamics enough to even be there for you. So I will give the floor over to you, our lovely lady of the day, looking gorgeous.
Hope you don't mind me sitting down. Is that okay?
Yes.
We don't mind that. And also, I put some thoughts down, as a give space for reflection. And I'm going to give short time to Elizabeth again, who's going to be talking about bereavement as well. So again, trauma going into bereavement, because these are sensitive topics that we're talking about, and of course, from what we've seen so far, you can see emotions coming up, and the whole reason for this luncheon is for us to have that space to talk about this thing, especially the Black community or the minority group. So I'm going to talk about trauma. And again, from what we've said so far, you can see people are still referring back to trauma. It might be a generic thing or probably cultural, so many, it can come in different forms. So again, of course, I know we're all learned sitting here, the majority maybe is the clinical background. We not all know what trauma is. However, sometimes we may not know that we're having traumatic experience, but because it's just trickling into our life, our everyday lives, and we don't know what is going on. We may think, oh, we're just upset, we're just angry, we don't know what's causing that anger. So sometimes it can be all these embedded emotions that we've bottled up for a very long time that we're not dealing with, we're not communicating. So again, sometimes we might come across to people that, oh, this person is very argumentative, very angry, but they don't know what is going on underneath. Remember, the majority of us was Titanic. People only see the what's on the top or what's at the bottom. People don't really know, and they tend to judge you unconsciously and some consciously. But again, this forum where we can look at things differently, and hopefully when we go back, these are the things that we can challenge. Maybe you see someone doing what is not right, you can challenge them in a very subtle way. So again, I was going to let you know as a trauma is a psychological or emotional response to an event or series of events that overwhelms our ability to cope. And again, of course, coping. Everybody have different coping style. Maybe you go to community. For me, I do party. If I come to your party, that you'll be very beautiful and very important. I'll come to your party. But for me, it's not. I'm not. Crowd person. So in case you're wondering why I fall out this way, because of me. And again, of course, just to understand who I am and again what we work together as a team. So again, also is to understand that identity. Sometimes who we identify with. And again, remember we talked about trauma and the minority group. Majority of us coming here is traumatic enough that we have to leave one culture, going into another culture. And again, we now struggle. We have the anxiety. When people leave Egypt, Nigeria, we think coming to UK is paved with gold, and it's not true. You come here, things change, and you wonder why. Maybe some people have sold their land, they've sold everything they've got, and they come here, nothing is coming back. Again, get frustrated, and that is trauma. You can now imagine having children in this situation. Those children are the ones that suffer the most. Why? Because they are torn between Africa or if probably in a white country. So again, and for parents, sometimes when parents are going through their own challenges, they're still trying to find their way. But these children, you tend to forget about them, and again, everything's still coming back to children. Why? Because maybe the parents are doing 3, 4, 5 jobs between themselves. Why? Because they want to have these children, they want them to have a better life. But again, what happened? They are 20, you're wondering what happened. They've grown and you're just under your nose. And what happened also, the society is calling for their attention. I'm sure we all know that between black and white people, there's a lot of disparities. I can give you the figures quickly. Say 8% of black British adults show symptoms related to post-traumatic stress disorder, to compare to 4% of white people. So you can see the differences. Black, whether it's black British, is there. Also, black people are over 4 times more likely to be detained under Mental Act than white people. Also, black men are more likely to experience psychosis, 3.2% compared to 0.3% of white. So you can imagine even when they stop and search, black people are more, or probably the minority, are being set aside for them to start. And again, come think of it, these are the kind of trauma that people experience, and then we talk about our own incident, so these are the things that we experience. So again, understanding trauma in everyday life. Trauma isn't always about a single catastrophic event. It can come from chronic emotional wounds, abandonment, grief, migration stress, or even generational silence. And I think it's something that we all probably will have experienced one or the other. And again, what touches me here, it talks about generational silence when people don't talk. And I think that's one thing about Africans. We don't really talk, we don't communicate. And again, I don't know whether that's because is the way we are brought up, or we don't want people to judge us. And again, looking at the community that we have, maybe like for me, like I said, I don't party. Where I associate myself is probably with the church. And again, it's so important for those probably not sure that you attend, maybe you attend the mass. That is your comfort zone. So with those things, there were things that happened there, for instance, my emotions. Sometimes I might have something going on for me. E.g., now I'm going to give my story. When I have postnatal depression, like even then I didn't even know whether that's what it's called, but I just know something was not right with me at that point. Like remember, I came to this country. For those that doesn't know, the story is in the book. When I came with 20 pounds when I landed the soil of United Kingdom, and that 20 pounds was taken off me at the airport, so I had nothing. So again, for me, I wasn't a young person. I was 28 when I came to this country. So then, of course, I didn't have a job. In fact, most of all will have come with a student visa. Majority now will have come with a student visa. So coming to the country, no job. My parents are back home. I'm still with my sibling. And again, of course, they have their own trauma. Probably I don't know. And it wasn't easy. For 7 months, I didn't have a job. And again, of course, like I said, maybe my mate will have been married. I wasn't married. So things happened. I don't have anyone, I don't know who to talk to. And then we don't have this mobile phone that you can call just like that. So again, that community where I can exchange, have that important conversation was not available. Like I said, the only place I have is my church. So again, of course, everybody's doing their own thing. And that's why it's so important, especially in the congregation, that to be watchful. Even the Bible said that know the state of your flock. know what's going on for them. And it's so important also when to reach out to people. And when you're reaching out, because some they don't know how to accept help, that's one problem. And to those that wanted help, how do we now, stretch, reach out to them to offer that help? So I've got some things here, among other things, which I really want us to engage with, because again, I believe everybody have their own experiences. So for me, that help wasn't there. And again, between I had my lovely Atalia, and at that point when I had the baby, like I said, I went to the hospital, everything was okay. But something happened between the theater and well, thank God for my mom. If my mom wasn't there, I wouldn't be here today. So it was that close. So when it happened eventually, I remember I saw a knife. And when they put the knife, I screamed, oh, that, as if, somebody stabbed you. So that was traumatic for me. I still see the picture. And again, sometime, like I said, it took about 12 years for me to recover. And how did I do that? It's not because I went to get help, because I don't even know how to get the help. And again, the little congregation, I don't say little, but what I'm saying is the congregation where I associate, to those I associate with, they cannot even see it. And that is a challenge where you go somewhere, people don't really see you. Sometimes, I mean, I don't know whether it's African thing. Do we see people? You may have a neighbor, do you see them? They're there, but you don't even see them. Is it that because they're very busy? And I think that's one thing also. Everybody's busy. I think that's the way the system is. Everybody's busy. Everybody's busy. But we should not be too busy. You may see someone, oh, I saw them yesterday, and you heard that they committed suicide. And you wonder, oh, I thought everything was okay. It's not okay. When people cry, you may not see their tears coming down immediately, but they're crying for help. They're saying, please, I'm here. But we are not seeing them. And again, sometimes, how do you reach out to these people? I don't know, maybe it's the society, but that's why we as Black people are saying, we are the ones that really need to make that change. We need to really go out of our comfort zone, and reach out to someone. And you may be thinking, what will I say to them? Sometimes what you say is to create that space. Just listen. That's all they want, just to listen. And you can't say, oh, like Elizabeth was saying, it's well with you, Jesus' name, you're blessed, Of course we are blessed. Of course, we have that, our faith, yes. Of course we have but again, the thing is, we pray together. It's important, it's a place of prayer. But the other thing is, what next? And again, being judgmental. You may think your faith is not strong enough, or probably you're not praying enough. It's not whether you're praying enough or your faith. Mental health can happen to anyone, whether you're white, black, green, or blue. But when it does happen, how do you come out of it? For me, it took a while to come out. Some people don't even come out at all. Some people end up dying, And again, you may say, oh, thank God it's not happening to me. But you might know someone that something is happening to you. It might be your brother, it might be your sister, it might be your uncle, your auntie. But it doesn't just affect them, it affects the whole family. I'm sure we know these things. So Elizabeth can testify, it affects the whole family. And again, maybe you have siblings. And again, so what I want us to think about is, you may have maybe a member of family, probably, they are going through a challenge maybe due to illness, or maybe bereavement, whatever. It's not just happening to them, it's happening to the whole family. So how do the siblings, how are they coping? How are you coping as well as a parent? These are the things I really want us to talk about. And I've written down here, all these families that now we talk about neurodivergence, we talk about eating trauma, we talk about generational pain. There's so much pain, the hunger is an emotion. How do you deal with it? Your hunger. And this one thing I've noticed about in our kind of community, our family, where people get so angry and it goes on and on and on. The bad thing about hunger is it kills on the it kills that person that is hungry indirectly. Kill in the sense that you are the one suffering. You're the one that is you're having another kind of ailment while due to hunger. So it's important that we get that support and help where we need to. Ways to support people facing trauma. I've written some thoughts down, and I hope hopefully it will resonate with us. So I said, believe their story. It is their story. We can't take them away from them. Don't say it never happened, or don't put it aside so you don't let it happen. No, it's their story. It's good that we listen. Just say to them, I believe you. Sometimes that's all they need. Sometimes it's just that hug or the pat to say, okay, do you know what? I'm there for you. Also, hold space without fixing. Hold space without fixing. I've written sometimes just sitting with someone in their pain without offering solutions allow them to feel truly seen. They'll talk about being seen, so it's always important we give them that space. Also, respect coping mechanism. Everyone have healing style. I think somebody was talking about differences. Everybody do have that differences in how they heal. Speak to someone, create that space, need silence. And again, I know sometimes we black people, I don't know, some talk too much. You just need to be quiet sometimes. Just be quiet and listen. That's all they want. Signpost to same resources, of course, we have a GP, we have other, therapies, in fact, there's so many agencies that you can reach out to. And also, here I've written faith, heart, culture as regions. So again, of course, so people do have, flair for different things. For me, I love to draw. When I'm hungry, when I draw, it's a masterpiece. When I'm hungry, so again, everybody have their healing style. And if people don't see me angry, I don't get angry. But when I do, so yeah, but again, come think of it. So I've channeled that anger into something more productive. And again, this is something people can do also. And finally, I want to leave this to us. Maybe someone with mental health. We do have that. It probably even in our families, it does happen. But what do you do with it? What do you do with the trauma that you have? What do you do with someone that is going through bereavement? There's so much we can do. So I really want us to, continue to listen as we are as I call on this next. We get to talk about bereavement. Thank you.
Before Elizabeth will come on, I'll just take an opportunity to read a few lines from the book, please. So in chapter 22, I read, for many families, distance presents unique challenges, especially when supporting an elderly parent through bereavement. Though living far away is sometimes unavoidable, finding ways to remain emotionally present can make a meaningful difference. Grief is not meant to be carried alone. It is lightened by connection, reassurance, and thoughtful gestures. Her children, despite their own responsibilities, had opportunities to nurture this connection in ways that could have offered her comfort. Small gestures, such as regular calls, occasional visits, arranging bereavement counseling, or encouraging involvement with close family and community, might have provided moments of warmth and companionship. These small acts serve as reminders that even from afar, love and presence can help lighten the weight of grief. Thank you. That is very powerful. Love and presence will always lighten the weight of grief. And on that note, I will welcome Elizabeth. Thank you.
Yes, thanks again. Okay, I think bereavement is something that resonates with all of us because it's a process. And as you know, it starts with loss. And there are different types of losses which you all know. There's loss of a job, In this country, loss of a job is a big deal. Okay? For us. For other people, it's not the same. But for us, loss of a job is a big deal. But fortunately, you can go to McDonald's and ask somebody, can you buy me a meal? Honestly, you get somebody to buy you a meal. You can go to the homeless person's unit and say, my job is gone. My landlord is having me out. They put you okay? Maybe not what you want. So there are many types of losses and there are many types of how. But there's a loss of death. I think that's a loss that nobody can replace. And that's the loss that when it happens to us, ethnic minorities, who are not well grounded, not well rooted in this country, when it hits you hard. And there is no word I can say because last year, almost coming to a year, I lost my husband. We've been together for 49 years. And it was, I even had, when my son said, Mom, we have to make a decision to switch off the phone. I don't want my dad to be a vegetable, you know. And Dad wouldn't have liked to be a vegetable. Mom helped me strong. I just wanted to say, you go, boy, do you know? What are you talking about, okay? And he says, Mom, think about it. My other friend is also going through it because Mom, you know, the organs are failing. Even if Dad is to live, I don't want to see my father as a vegetable. And that, Mom, you know it very well. So I want to tell you that death in this country, for us, is something. You know, in other communities, when you're back home, it's different. When you are a casual, when you are born here, it's different. Because you are well grounded, you are well rooted. But for us, it's different. You know why it's difficult? There's a different culture there. They want to bury their person. Okay? They don't care whether you are a wife who took you there. Because now, in our African community, when you die, you belong to your family. Okay? You no longer belong to anybody. And your family makes the last decision. It is sad because when we are alive, our families may not that attachment, you know. But when we die, our family is strong attachment. So it's a very difficult challenge situation, and I just wanted to share this moment with you that when we're here, we are seen as different entities. Back home, they are different entities. They don't see us any longer as part of the system, which is very sad. Okay? And we are sidelined in matters of death and everything. So I thought I should share this moment with you that the bereavement of loss of death in our community is just. And before you know, we are starting to fundraise, don't we? Because we are not even prepared for what is taken home. But people at home say, bring the body now, bring it now. What is she doing there? Okay? But nothing prepares. You can't wake up and start planning for death. Yes, we know death is there. But who wakes up every day in the morning to start planning for your death, for the death of your husband, for the death of your child who is not ill, okay? If they tell you your dear one has got 2 months to go, yes. If you know you have got somebody terminally ill, yes, you've got time. But in most cases, it hits us like a rock and we crash. And guess what? As you know, our jobs, Africans, our everything, their investment. So it's hands to mouth. So when this challenge comes to you, you don't even have an air ticket to take you, okay? Actually, the next paycheck is going on to bills. And it is quite a very devastating thing that I really wanted us to talk about, that nothing prepares you for this. You can never sit to prepare for yourself, but the reality is that we have to prepare ourselves. Because what happened to me less than a year ago, my husband wasn't ill for long. I'd just been ill, and he went for an elective surgery, an investigative surgery. So it wasn't surgery to treat an illness, it was proper investigative surgery. And something small went wrong, and there he was gone. Okay, yes. And you know what? In this country, you can't wake up and say, I'm going. You know, because I worked in Africa for 15 years before I came here. Even anything happens, your manager says go home, your work is duplicated by your colleagues. They don't even inform the big people, they have no time to inform them. Every job is covered. Actually, the big people come to know after about 3 months and say, oh, we didn't know. But here, when things happened to me, I had to stand handover. I couldn't fly. I had to write a handover. I had to put 2 days of brain on the laptop, struggling to write the handover of the people and how I'm going to keep people safe. Okay? That is not supposed to happen, okay? It's absolutely, it shouldn't happen, but it has happened. You just cannot wake up and go. Some jobs are lucky, wake up and go, but our jobs, our little jobs, you can't wake up and go. So you actually don't have time to breathe. Okay, I didn't have time to book my ticket, I didn't have time to park, I didn't have time to do everything. That I knew where my passport was. Okay? I knew where my passport was. And I was under pressure because people want to know when I'm arriving, but if I'm not arriving, they want to buy their person. So it's quite absolutely, and I think for us in this country, we have to live in a reality that when something happens to somebody, use it as a learning school. Reflect on it and say, if it's, what happened to Elizabeth, what happened to me? Okay? Put something aside and prepare yourself for the rainy day. Because I'm lucky that I have old children, so I didn't have to spend anything. All they said, Mom, tell us what you want to put in the suitcase, where's your passport? And they took me to the airport. But if I would start from a ticket which was costing 1,800 at that time, when it happened to me, plus the tax to the airport 2,000, which is my salary, I guess what? My husband would have been buried without my presence. Okay? If there was no money, well, fortunately, we had his bank card, so we're helping ourselves with his bank card as well. Because it happened so quickly that we didn't have time to call people. But guess what? Before you know, the funeral director says, "Do you have 5 grand?" Oh, yeah, because we have taken the body cleaners and then we prepare it. "Do you have 5 grand?" Okay. Where do you get 5 grand in a second? Whether you are not, okay? So these things are things that we can never budget for, plan for, and they're really devastating. Even if you pay for funeral insurance, it will take you a week before you get it. That's right. Okay, but you need money now. Before the insurance pays you, you need money now, you know. So it is but there's one comfort. We also have a loving community. I'm telling you, before I left, I had all the support from my colleagues. All right? People are sending emails even when I had already gone. People are looking for me, okay? People are collecting money for me, okay? Which is amazing. And when I returned, and I was very hard at, I said, how am I going to get money? I need money this weekend to do something to my hair. Because I came back with my dear sister here had the card and the collection for me. I forgot about all my worries now. The card made me so happy, you know. It's only when you are in it that you come to understand the importance of our community. And I read all the things that were in the card. It's as if somebody had deposited 10,000 into my account. It's as if somebody had said, actually. And then I looked at the envelope of the collection. I couldn't believe that in less than 2 weeks, people had collected such a lot of money for me, you know. So we thank God, or we thank our good culture that we are still united in grief. But also grief means different things. Loss us means different things to different people. And I don't know what we can do to prepare ourselves for this eventuality. It's not an almost thing to start planning your husband's death is not ill, your child's death is not ill. But the reality is that when it hits you hard. And you know, I'm seeing people my age now full in hospital with strokes. And I'm asking myself, how on here? What is happening? Where stroke, yes, but it's not age-related stroke. But when I look at the history, a good number of them have just been widowed. Or have just lost their children. And I'm saying, I think we must learn from this. Let us be realistic now, okay? We cannot end up with stroke in nursing homes and in hospitals because we're not prepared to deal with bereavement of death in our communities. You can't work here like this lady who came when he was 18 and worked. And then all of a sudden you end up with a stroke due to stress. And in a nursing home where you're going to enjoy, your passion, and actually when you're going to die, let's perseverity. And as we usually meet in our communities, let's have a reality of meeting and being able to put strategies in place, I always criticize ourselves. We are very good leaders in this country. We are leading the NHS, we are leading so many things. But we are in the parliament now. You can see Remy now, Foreign Secretary. Even have a say, let's lead ourselves, honestly. Let's have a community leader. We say, Fola is the community leader. When there is something, Fola is going to lead us. If I had that person in my own Ugandan community, they did a lot of money, a lot of things for me, okay? But there was no leadership. You see what I mean? There's a difference between leadership and contributions and everything. So let's organize ourselves. And if we know that, Fola is our leader, Rachel is our leader, even if I'm in Africa, I'll ring Rachel, okay? Rachel, one of us is not well, one of us is not okay, and Rachel will pick and take the leadership. So this is what I wanted to share with you, that we lack leadership in our community, in such a things, and then unless somebody volunteers. But I have, we have so many tribes. I have a tribe which comes from the central Uganda. They have a bereavement lead. I was impressed recently when I realized that they have a bereavement what? Lead. And I said, oh, I wish I knew him, and he was advertising himself, say, put your numbers in line. So I use my experience to know that bereavement of death, sudden, planned, or expected hits us on the ground. And, it would be sad to see any of us with a stroke because we were not prepared for this. Okay, right? Yeah.
Share my condolences. I don't know how I missed.
Okay, yeah. It was very sudden. Yeah, it was. July, August.
So I normally work with Elizabeth, but I'm like, why am I not hearing about this? Someone last year, someone disappeared off to Ghana, so sorry about that. And you said it very right. I know Fola is gonna come in, but we are scared to talk about death. It's one of the most guaranteed things in life. It doesn't mean we're calling it to come early. And I'm glad you spoke, because as young as I am, it's something that I don't shy away from. I took on life insurance for myself to take care of my family if I'm not here, because I do not want them to miss out on grieving the loss of me, that important person in their life, because they're grieving the finances to actually lay me to rest. And this is what I think we all need to have at the back of our minds. You can be a child, but think of your parent. Your parent has raised you your whole life, their whole lives, or your whole life, and they're about to retire, they want to relax, and then unfortunately the sad thing happens to you. Now they have to take that money that they would have rested with to put you to rest. So even as it doesn't matter what age you find yourself, think of the people around you and how, if anything happens to you, how they can carry on. Would they have to go GoFundMe, And let's just think of little things like that. As much as it will take them like a week for it to come, at least there's the hope. They can stall, they can delay people till that week will come, and they can then miss you for you, not stressing about now after a week. What will they eat? Because you said something, and it happened with me and my husband. It was a conversation. He started feeling unwell, and the fear that grips me, thinking of me and the kids, and I'm like, if God forbid something happened to you now, where am I finding £3,000 to buy a ticket and go and come back to life? Because you still have to continue with life with the people that you're left behind. And it's that kind of conversations that Africans don't like to have, and I think it's important to talk about, not because we want to invite it, no, but we just want to be prepared and just enjoy the life that we have in the moment. Life insurance is cheaper than our phone insurance, than McDonald's. Let's think about that. And even if you're here forever, it's generational wealth. So let's just think of that. So I want to bring Folashade in, and she will round this out.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I also want to say thank you to those joining online as well. I've got my cousins from America, Pastor here today. And of course, my cousin also Shadera Bare. So thank you for joining us. So we are still on, we'll soon be leaving. So I'm sure you're wondering the time. I hope you enjoy yourself still.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to add to what Elizabeth has said when it comes to bereavement. And again, of course, I think I read part of my book when referring back to my mom. And again, it just, taught me one or two lessons, which I believe that probably you, everyone sitting here will appreciate. So again, when my dad passed on, my mom was with me trying to babysit. And of course, sometimes, what my younger sister said when it comes to rivalry, unconscious, sometimes these things happen, not that they meant it to happen, but it happens. Of course, people will say, oh, if not because of you, my mom would still be my dad, nurturing. My mom was a nurse as well. And again, of course, whether they said it or not, even something, it still affects you as a person. So again, for me, and when that happened, I used to call my mom nearly every day just to check in on her. But when she died, 3 days before she died, I could not call him. But again, my spirit was there. And when they called me that my mom passed, I was rolling on the floor. Oh, my mom. But again, you cannot imagine someone that just, lost their spouse. When they sit with their children, they want to talk to you, you think everything is okay. But it's not okay. The moment you leave that door, you say, Mom, Baba, I'll see you tomorrow. Or I'll probably call you on the phone. It's not the same. One day what hit me the most, when you call speak to them on the phone, oh, mommy, how are you? Oh, I'm fine. They'll call me my pet name. I will the voice is still the same. But the face, the body is not the same. The day I saw a picture, my younger sister sent me the picture. I said, this is my mom. It hit me that, my goodness, she's not that person I thought she was. And again, one day the Holy Spirit was telling me something. How much do we know? We are just too busy. Oh, I'm very busy. I'm working. We don't even reach out to them. We don't call them as much as we should. And again, come think of it, might be, someone, maybe your husband, like my sister was saying, in her still like, do you reach out to them? May even contribute money, like she said. But that it ends there. What am I saying to us today? Shouldn't be. It's not all the time that is money. Going through photographs, if you still have your mom or your dad, appreciate them. Tell stories. Because these are the things that will bring them joy. That thing has happened. Nobody can take it. Either the man or the husband or the wife, nobody can take their place. So it's always good that we spend time with them, especially if you are the children. How do you spend this time with them? We tend to forget. And my dad always says something. What goes around comes, The Yoruba, for those that don't know how to say it, the makomako, you can always come back. So whatever thing we do, any seed we sow, it will always come back. It's always good to think about these good things. When you need that help, it will come to you. Why? Because you paved that way already. So I really want to encourage us because like everybody has said, they've said, if we don't prepare for death, sometimes it happens. And when it does, it may say it's not me. It might be you next. You never know. So it's so important that you reach out to people. Let them know that you're thinking about them. It doesn't take long to send them tests. It may not even be there may be a sickness in the family. Sometimes people, you don't know what goes on in everybody's home. You never know. But again, you don't see someone for a very long time. It costs you not to send them a text. And I think maybe the black community, I know we are the ones that do 3 jobs. From one, we are doing the other one. Before you come back, you're picking another bag. We really need to be careful, like stress. You see young people, having stroke. Why? Some they die on their desk, they've been looking for them days. They didn't turn up at work. They are dead in the house, They found them, dead at home. So please, I really want to encourage us to think about these things. I know we have our faith, we have God, but again, I really want us to, every pages of that book, not by tie, is very important. It's what we're doing next. It's not judging anyone, but it's what are we going to do next. Yes, thank you. If anyone want to say anything on the online, please do so. I'm going to give the floor for in and out. Thank you, everyone.
Today has been so amazing, so enlightening. I don't know about you, but I'm full. with the wisdom. And of course, we had our lovely, we've got desserts as well, so make sure you grab something. We've got our lovely snacks that refreshed us. Anyone wants to comment? We've got Shade, and then we've got, is it Pastor Ijesha there? Anyone in this room who wants to add on to anything, wants to say anything to follow? Of course, don't be shy. I think shy is my
Hi. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Yinka's cousin, Folashade's cousin, and I just want to say that I'm so proud of her. She has done well. With her experience, with the things she's been through, coming up with this book, for me, I just say bravo. I say kudos to you. And this is just the beginning of greater things. And as a family, we're proud of you. Just let me tell you that. I'm proud of you. Mom is right here. She's proud of you. And and I know the others can't join because Kemi's at work, but we all are proud of you and we're rooting for you. So many more wins to come, darling cousin. Love you.
Oh, that's very sweet of you. Thank you so much. So where are you joining us from, if you want to share?
I went from the US. I'm currently in New Jersey now.
Okay, so that would be the next location for our book tour. So please get yourself ready. We're looking for sponsors for our flights. By the way. We're going to the US. Thank you so much for that encouraging words. Yeah, very proud of her. And she's doing an amazing job. I can't wait to just extra soak in the reading. So any final words from anybody? We just want to say a big thank you as well to. Oh, hi. Yes, please come in.
I'm a lady of few words. I just want to encourage everyone to make sure that they read the book. It's good to buy them, but make sure you read. I read it. I ordered it from Amazon. It's quite captivating, resonates with everything that I'm reading there. It talks about lots of things that I've already shared here. It's an amazing book, and I'm very proud of my sister.
And thank you so much for mentioning that it is on Amazon. Make sure you go on Amazon, share the link. Well, I will share it out to everybody who's here. Share it to your friends and family, and just tell them to go for it. And Christmas is coming soon. I know it sounds like very far away. Get it ready as a gift for someone who you want to be like, you need to read something, and someone who also likes reading already. So 2 in 1. There's a saying that if you want to hide something from a black person, hide it in the book. It's just very sad, like changing that narrative. And it starts with our children. One thing I'm always proud of is my girls, they'll fight over books. Because I'll always, whenever I go to the supermarket, that was one thing I would always add to my shopping list, a book. So eventually we have this lovely library in the room, which is always messy, and I'm always tidying up and shouting about. But they love to read. They fight about books because that's where I just push that with them. Yep, your mom is tapping you. Are you listening? Yes, you better listen. Auntie, I'll come for you. Don't worry. So yes, let's just grab a copy and let's read it. Let's share the story. Let's share the link. And let's support Fala, and let's just get this wisdom in us. Any final words from anybody? And then we're going to quickly introduce the team, the Easy Light Healthcare team, who have been amazing support for Fala. And please come, don't be shy. Hi.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hello. Yeah.
My name is Sarah, and it's a great honor to be here today on the special occasion of the book launch. It's a very powerful and inspiring. And while today is centered on the book launch, we're delighted to share with you an exciting and a new chapter, a new birth, Easy Light Healthcare. Easy Light Healthcare is a domiciliary care and a mental health service provider, and we provide services such as neurodevelopmental assessment, mental health assessment, therapeutic intervention, and supported living. Please permit me to introduce to you the team behind this wonderful new service. First on my list is Folashade Adewolu. Director and registered manager. And second on my list is Dr. Kumbi Olowe. I'm not sure if she's online. She joined us online today, and she's the director and nominated individual. And I also have Atania Okonkwo. I have Adetunji Adewolu, director and responsible for overseeing the quality assurance. And I've got Nathaniel Olowe. And I've got Tinuke Adeshoga joining us online today. She's human resources. I've got Titi Lola Eshola. She's joining us online today as well. She's our valued partner from Nigeria. And myself, Sarah Astan, the Policy Assurance Officer. Thank you.
Quality assurance. How is the quality of today?
Very good. I'm really proud of you. This event has really enlightened us about how we need to look after ourselves as human beings, and just to support each other while at work as a family, supporting our children. It's really inspiring. Thank you so much for living with grace. As we bring this part of the event to a close, I'd like to say thank you to everyone for your presence, for your support, for your sharing in this vision. Thank you so much. And God bless you all as you go back home. Thank you so much, Mom.
So we are done for today. We are very grateful for your presence, your time. We don't take that for granted. Of course, last note, I want to thank you everyone for coming. I hope and believe that we've all learned something today. And I know, of course, in the coming years, no mistake, because I believe that you came with your own wealth of knowledge, even though some are quiet. But again, I know, you're going back home, going to change your world, going to change your community. And of course, again, the things that were shared here, I don't want us to take for granted, because some people did put a lot of emotion, and I could feel it, and I don't know what to say. Of course, I want to encourage or clap, and let us clap for those that were able to standing here today to share your lifestyle or your own life, it takes a lot of courage. And again, I believe they've done so that we can begin to get better ourselves, because it's a healing process, so that we can begin to heal, and if you need more support, and like Panyo has said, we do offer intervention as well. So we are a domiciliary mental intervention company. So again, what led to this also is because I believe that we can make a change. And again, and when I'm passionate about something, oh God, my colleague here, many people are coming, they know I go for it. And I don't speak just words, I act. I'm sure they can testify as well. And I don't talk, I act. Why? Because I want a change. And that change starts with me. As a leader, you need to lead by example. And I mean, they're all shaking their head. They're all shaking their head. And apart from the fact that my colleague at work, I do have my colleague, my brethren in church as well. They will testify that is who I am. And for my neighbors, thank you also. I may not be as much visible, but again, I always remember in prayer that every opportunity I have, I still try to say hello. So I really want us to continue to do so, be a helping hand to someone, and take them with you, let them know that they are loved and you're thinking about them.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you to those online. I really appreciate and I love you again.
Thank you so much, everyone. Just a second, I think someone wants to say something to you. Get to know each other as well. Let's just get something to snack on and then come back for part 2. We're not gone yet. So don't worry.
Sorry, I came late. Sorry. Multitasking. Very well, thank you. Good to see you. Thank you so much. How are you? I know. Good to see you. How are you?
So I'm good. How are you?
You look like sales. You're fine. I'm discovering myself. God bless you, sir. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for sharing.
Actually, it's a lot. I just had to.
God bless you, sir. I don't know. Thank you. Don't go. I'm a very. Say one this. Oh, Mama, this. Oh, Mama, this. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah. Please, it's all for you.
Yes, sir, thank you. I'll go and join them.
Okay, you go. What about the people?
I think I'll
Okay, well, sing on. What's the name? Okay, my God. Sorry.